welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. This is now, what episode is this? Number 5 of this little Meet the Castle limited series. And this will be our final episode, as we had some members that are just kind of too busy at the moment right now. Some members that you've already met, maybe some faces that you haven't seen yet, but they will be back. They're not dropped or anything. They're just, this semester is crazy with everything going on in the world. But without further ado, let me introduce one of my very best friends, brother of mine, Christopher Berry. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm pumped to be doing this interview with you. Sandra wasn't able to join us because she's at work tonight, but audience, this is the 5th one. You guys know what this is about. You guys know the questions. So with that, I think let's just jump in. But before that, before we jump in, let's say this. Let's back up a quick second. Do you want to start with saying anything, Chris, before we get to know you a little bit better?
My name's Chris Berry. Dan and I have known each other for a very long time. As he said, one of my best friends, my closest friends. And I'm excited to be here and kind of talk to you guys and get you to know a little bit more about me.
Then with that said, let's get right into it. All right. So this little section's your biography, right? So let's get to know you a little bit more. So Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, your current school, and then I'll add some more questions after that. But why don't we start there?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Southern California, as all of us are. I went to Mater Dei. That is where the majority of us met. After Mater Dei, I then continued to go off to university in Boston at Northeastern University. Since then, like the past 3 years, it's been a pretty awesome ride. I've been able to kind of live in a lot of different places around the world. In Rome for a little bit, in Peru for a little bit, San Francisco, Boston, where my university is located. So there's a lot of really cool things going on right now. And that's kind of a quick introduction of, I guess you'd say, my background in regards to education and stuff like that. I also am pretty entrepreneurial minded. I am currently working on a couple of different companies, the main 2 being a closing agency, where I kind of reach out to internet marketers, very successful internet marketers, and help them sell and grow their business. And then I also am running an e-commerce store as well.
Dang, man, that's keeping you busy. But I love to hear your projects whenever we talk about that stuff. It's just so fun.
Chris.
But that's awesome. Okay, so you're saying Northeastern, and what are you majoring in? What are you studying over there?
Yeah, so I'm studying entrepreneurship and finance. I think Northeastern has been fantastic for me in my development as a person. It's definitely expanded my mind to just what's available in the world. But I would say my growth as an entrepreneur and as a person is really taking place outside the classroom. I think it kind of gave me that introduction I needed, and then I just kind of took it and ran with it after that. So the guy I'm currently working with, I have a couple mentors, but one main guy, he's the one kind of helping me grow this business, grow this agency. And to me, it's taught me a lot that literally no matter who you are, like whether you come from any sort of background, like you with the internet today, like you can do anything you want. So.
Well, yeah. Okay, perfect. So I was going to ask a question, but I want to actually backtrack a little bit before. So you saying that you're starting up an e-commerce site, right? And you said that you're working with your mentor. He's kind of helping you do all this stuff. So Can you explain a little bit about that? Or is it like in the early stages of development?
No.
All right, cool. So let's talk about that.
There's kind of 2 things. The e-commerce site I'm doing, but it's not on the majority of my attention. In the past, I've, as you know, Daniel, I've tried to do a million things at once. Mm-hmm. The problem is with that is if I have too much fragmented, I guess say attention, I get a lot of nowhere basically. I get little progress in a lot of different areas rather one highly focused section. So my main focus right now is that closing agency that I kind of told you about. I reach out to some top internet marketers in the world, businesses that are looking to grow as a whole and further implement different strategies and skills in order to actually organizationally be ready to handle all that inflow in business. So that's my main focus right now. I also am technically the owner of a e-commerce store. I am not as much in the day-to-day. I actually have a business partner that helps me with that. She kind of runs most of it, organizes everything, and also connects with the different employees within the business as well. So. Okay.
Well, that's really cool. While we're on here, then let's talk about your Instagram. You recently started a new what's the word? Account.
Yep.
I don't know why I'm blanking on the name, but
Yeah.
you start a new account, your inspirational quotes every day. Is that part of your business? I mean, first of all, I love the account, man, but
Appreciate it.
great words.
Yeah. So that is really me just trying to grow my personal brand. So as I'm going to be reaching out to, as I told you, some like the top internet marketers in the world, gurus in the world, I need to seem legit as a whole. Obviously, I know that I have the skills and the knowledge in order to do so, but unless I express that outside to the world, then nobody's going to know. So I'm working very heavily. That's one of my main focuses right now, growing my PR in a sense, my social media presence as a whole. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, I've already kind of built up a little bit. And then I'm also kind of working with some different publications to get some articles written about me as well.
Dude, that's super cool. Honestly, audience, every time we've talked, again, going way back, it's always like, what project are you working on now? But I'm just so happy to see that you're thriving and you're doing so many cool things. And like you said, just really focusing in on some stuff is just great. So really excited for you. And obviously that all of us are in your corner supporting you here. But okay, let's go back into the question then. So majoring in entrepreneurship and over there, you've gotten the chance, and earlier you were saying that you've been able to go abroad a lot. So why don't we spend a little bit of time and if you can share some of the places that you've been to? I know you briefly touched that, and then with that, like, what have you learned in those experiences with that entrepreneurship?
Absolutely. So I think that let's just first focus on what I learned about traveling. I think it's taught me so much about myself, first of all. Just being able to go all different parts of the world. To give everybody listening or watching a background, I've been able to live in Rome for like 4 months. I was able to live in Peru for like 2 months. As I said, I was able San Francisco, Boston. I was actually supposed to go live in Singapore, but with everything COVID, that got canceled. Regardless, traveling and being able to see people of different cultures just expanded my mind to realize, look, like, you see the media out there, it's like, oh, this person is like against us or whatever it is. Like it's really not. Like, even I don't know if it's bad to throw this in there.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
But like, even at Northeastern, so it's super international there. Okay. So personally, being in Southern California, I didn't necessarily meet a lot of people like from the Middle East. And growing up all the time on the media, you hear how, oh, the Middle East is a bad place with bad people. And yes, of course, there's unfortunate groups and stuff that's not great there. But regardless, the people that I've been able to meet at Northeastern from me, some of the nicest people that I've ever met. Even if we don't share the same religious beliefs, okay, or same background, whatever it is, like, I've come to realize that in the end, we're all people, and we have a lot more alike than we do different, even though the media may tell us so. So that's one thing that I've really learned from traveling. And then kind of taking the entrepreneurial aspect too, it's also taught me a lot. Okay, like, what are the things that people all around the world struggle with, and then now that I've understood that problem, like, how can I position myself and the businesses that I'll create to actually solve these global problems that people struggle with all over.
Yeah, man. First of all, that's awesome. Like, that you're just expanding you're becoming a global citizen, but also you're expanding that global connection in that mind. And that's so important. And I think we'll touch on this a little bit later, but that was one of the driving forces behind the show and why we're called, The Intelligent World, which, by the way, was Chris's idea for the name. So
don't even, you were there with me too. Give me all the credit.
But that's exactly what the show is about, right? About expanding, not just here in the United States, but talking about things around the world. And it can be, as maybe dumb, right, as like the little videos on movies that we've done in society, right, to bigger things like social media or some of the big plans that we're coming up with. So from little to small, from little to big, it doesn't matter. It's all about talking what's important here. And what we're trying to make everything important and relevant. All right, man. So thank you for that. Let's talk a little bit about your involvements and then your future plans as we'll kind of wrap up this little section here.
Yep. So daily involvements. So as I told you, I'm still finishing up university. I'm set to graduate in December. As of right now, university, it's important to me, yes, but it's kind of a little bit on the back burner, not going to lie. So as I kind of told you, I have a couple different business ventures that I'm working extremely hard doing. I'm now starting to build my team, which is really awesome. And we're doing a lot of cool stuff. So that is where I spend majority of my days. I squeeze in my school assignments here and there and kind of get it done. I'm very much ready to graduate in December. So that's when we talk about involvements or anything like that. Majority of my day is consumed by that. I'm a very, very hard worker. The way I see it, I have 24 hours in a day, 8 to sleep, take out time for family, for my girlfriend, to eat, stuff like this. Other than that, I'm working on my business, growing and talking to people. So
well, yeah, man, and that's important, and we appreciate it that you make time for us and obviously for your family and girlfriend who I'm dying to meet, man.
I know. It's crazy. Well, it's hard when she lives across the world. So
definitely, but one day. So with that, I'll let you drink your water here. But what are your future plans? So you're saying definitely a lot of involvements, but is there like one thing or a few things that you kind of see? Either it can be near future, it can be way in advance.
See, here's the thing. I have it in my head, but I'm wondering, okay, do I give it to the people?
All right.
I'm saying for the fact, and I'll just give it to them. Look, like one day I will be a multi-billionaire. People be like, oh shit, Chris, you're real cocky, huh? You can probably snip at me cussing out, but you're real cocky, aren't you, Chris, huh? Okay, but the thing is like, as I told you before, like with the internet, the amount of opportunities that are available to us are just absurd. Mm-hmm. And to me, through my traveling and seeing all this, I've come to realize there's like huge, and even just being here at home, you notice like there's huge problems that need to be solved in the world, So for me, look, in the end, as I say, multi-billionaire, it's just another zero on my bank account. It's paper, right? It doesn't mean that much. But the thing is, if you have these things, okay, you can create companies, you create organizations, foundations, whatever it may be, to actually make a difference. Mm-hmm. Start working towards the solutions to the global problems that we all face. So for me, that's my end goal. That's where I'm always facing towards. Okay. So it's also a matter of, okay, how do I keep that end goal, but also like not only try to build the capital to build businesses that do that, but also try to make a daily difference, So in my clothing company, like that's our goal. Our goal is to go ahead and expand only like the best businesses. If a person sells a crap product and they don't provide value to people, I'm not going to work with them, Right. I'm working for companies that are like significantly helping people, that are going to make a difference. And I guess we can say we kind of start by every small action leading towards that ultimate goal of mine. So that's kind of my long-term goal, and just continue to build businesses, build capital, make a difference in the process of doing so.
Yeah. And just really quick, I want to give my 2 cents if that's cool. But I mean, to the audience, if what he said is exactly true, and I've known this guy for a while, so he's not being cocky at all. This guy really, really wants to make a difference. And I think we'll get into it in another question, but I mean, that's the point of it. It's like it's all about mindset. We've talked about this a lot, in our group, there's a lot of, we all come from different backgrounds, right? And sometimes there's big big differences in those backgrounds, stuff like that. But the thing that unites us is we all have that mindset of goal oriented, hardworking, going out and getting it. And I mean, this guy right here, like, just exemplifies that. He's not just trying to make money to make money. He's trying to help out. And that's what I think is one reason why we get along so well, right? Because we have that common goal. But
I appreciate that.
Of course, bro.
I mean, you could go, if people are like, oh yeah, Chris, really, a multi. Here's the thing. I'll quickly highlight it because we don't have enough time to go through the whole thing. But like, even just look at it from a financial perspective, okay? Like, if you're growing 1% every day, okay, as a person, whether it be financial, whatever it is, okay? Mm-hmm. After 1 year, okay, we're talking exponential growth because by compounding interest, apologies, okay, because it builds on each other. Mm-hmm. We're talking 37 times better 1 year later. Okay, I'm only 20 years old. Dude, I'm going to hit 100, probably even go a little bit past that, okay? So the thing is, you're telling me that in 1 year I can get 37 times better. Mm-hmm. Imagine all the other 79 other ones with compounding interest, right?
Right, yeah.
So that to me is where I'm like, wow, like I have zero doubts in my mind that it's not going to happen, I have zero doubts that it is going to happen just because of all the opportunities we have. So
Exactly like you said. I think you summed it up perfectly, my friend. And so as we move on to this next kind of question, it's gonna now go a little bit less from like biography of yourself to like now how are you connecting the group and really talking about the brand. So you talked about this earlier, but how did you? Let's talk about the history that you have with the group itself.
Yeah. So as I kind of highlighted earlier, all of us went to Mater Dei together, good friends, all kind of knowing each other. And basically what happened is Daniel approached me. He said, "Hey, I want to go ahead. I'm currently doing this podcast radio show. And like, I really want to build a team and like basically share ideas that are worth other people listening to." So when he approached me like that, as you might be able to tell, my goal is to also share stuff with the world too. And I think that is a great medium to do so. So I think that's kind of the thing that unites us in our background. We all kind of met through high school. And I think that was the end of the question that you had for this one, right?
Yeah, you combine them perfectly, so that's awesome. Now I kind of want to take a step back and for a second, something that the audience does not know, and that is this. And I'll monologue for 2 seconds so I can just give a little bit of exposition here. But I had started the Chapman, the radio show at Chapman, the university that I go to, back in 2019, and last summer, right in the midst of the pandemic, you and I got on the phone and we had a great conversation.
Yeah.
We had a great conversation. Do you remember the conversation that we had? You're smiling, so I think we do.
Of course, dude. We hit on so many points. It was a long conversation, so I don't know exactly what you're pinpointing, but I remember it.
We talked about a few different things, and do you want to give if you remember, do you want to summarize a little bit or
I mean, we talked about a lot of things, so just go ahead and take it away from me.
I'll take it away then. One thing that we had talked about is writing, right? We had you had come up with idea. You had been writing a few different books on a few different subjects, and I thankfully I've gotten the blessing, the opportunity to get published, and so we kind of talked to each other about writing together. I mean, really, realistically, me jumping onto your project that was already pre-existing. And one of the things we talked about that day was mental health and this passion that you have for really, just putting it out there, really building either a brand or something to kind of talk to people, to get those ideas out there and kind of take away some of that negative perception of needing therapy and all that stuff. And for me, as someone who deals with mental health issues, who has gone to therapy and who's also a psychology major and everything, that's one of my passions as well. So we talked a little bit about it. It was really great conversation, and we kind of agreed to talk about some stuff, right? And unfortunately, it just kind of never took off because we were so busy. But I'm still committed 100%. And I hope that we can find time to work on it over these next few years.
Of course.
One thing that we talked about in December when we met, right when I was telling you, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
We talked about this is a great medium to start a conversation.
Absolutely.
About not only everything that you want to talk about, but extending that to, again, like we were saying earlier, about the main mission of the show. And so that's a bit of exposition that I just gave, so I apologize. But really what I'm kind of, the question is here is, I talked a lot, I kind of summarized everything, but what I want to hear your thoughts, especially because we haven't talked in a while because of just the state of being busy. But talk about our mission and kind of talk about those things that we talked about, if you can.
Absolutely. So mission of Intelligent World is to basically make this world a little bit more intelligent, give them a little bit more knowledge so they can make informed decisions, so they could understand everything and hopefully take the information and live a better life, So that's, I guess, the mission of the show as a whole. But what Daniel's referring to on our conversation is for both of us, but I'll take it from my perspective on this. There's just a lot of really sad things going on out in the world, it's quite alarming, honestly, even seeing the different statistics of anxiety, depression, suicide numbers from mental health issues. And to me, I not me personally, I haven't had too much mental health issues, but at a young age, I had a very close friend of mine who struggled a lot, And to me, ever since that moment, it's like left a mark on my life, And I just remember being so young and like having my friend go through this and me kind of living this vicariously through him,
Mm-hmm.
and just never wanting anybody to feel like that again. Like for someone to feel that they're not loved, that literally like they're so bad and so worthless that the world is better off without them, and they take their own life, like that just like that tears me to pieces, honestly, you know.
Mm.
And unfortunately, since the inception of social media, and I'm really happy that now documentaries, because I've been talking about this for a long time, I'm happy that documentaries like The Social Dilemma and other things like this are coming out, further highlighting everything that's going on. But since the inception of social media, these statistics have only gotten alarmingly worse, you know. So I think that it's really important to solve this problem. And the first way I believe in doing so is actually bringing attention to it, so then we can identify it and then get solutions from there. So that is what one of the driving factors behind all that I do, and also what I like to, or what we would like to go ahead and solve and kind of share here on this podcast.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much. Two more quick questions. I know we're kind of running out of time here.
Yep.
But and this is kind of seems silly after such a deep little piece there. But why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do on the show and what your role is?
Yeah. So as I kind of said, you know, our goal as a whole is to kind of share and educate people and stuff like that. So for me, what I kind of do is I help in the content creation side a little bit, try to always make sure that the things that we're covering comes back to that overarching mission and really teach people something. Obviously, we can't have super deep, dark conversations every single time. You know, we got to make sure it's we don't make people depressed literally by talking about it. You know. But as a whole, also, even on the lighter conversations, making sure we can tie back to that purpose of really trying to teach something to people who are listening or watching.
Yeah, definitely. And so he worked with Marco Ramici and Matt Neustadt, who you've already met and part of that creative directors team. So, so awesome. All right. Last question for you, buddy, and then we'll get you out of here. Let's talk about a little bit of where you see this going, or where you want this to go.
Yeah, where I would love it to go. I'd love it to be an internationally known podcast. I'd love it to be where we're able to really start conversations that need to be started, you know, really bringing attention to the problems that plagues this world, number one, but then also just even giving information to people. So as I've kind of alluded a couple of times with the internet, especially, there are so many opportunities to do anything that you want in this world, you know? So that being said, like, how can we go ahead and like let other people know that? A lot of people feel like they're stuck where they're at now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they feel like, oh yeah, this happened in the past, or I'm in this situation, so I can't get out of it. It's almost like a self-victimization,
right?
In a sense, quite honestly, and it's sad. So what I want to do is like let people know, like, hey, no, like you're not stuck there. Like you can have this. And the way we do that, in my opinion, is by sharing information with people. You know, giving them that little insight that then it keeps growing until they're, oh wow, like I could do this all myself. So I kind of quickly highlighted, but to kind of summarize, internationally known podcast that talks with some of the world's top minds to start conversations that need to be happening, and then also share information with people so they can improve themselves, their lives, and the people around them, and eventually the world.
Yeah, man, that's exactly what it's all about. And I think that we all kind of share that, those values and core values. But here's some statistics for you. We actually are getting some viewership around the world already. So some in Europe, some in South America. So it's good, man. I know we're just starting, but I mean, just seeing some of those numbers gets me excited, at least on the back end, just to see those little statistics. So, all right, buddy. Well, thank you so much for talking with me and interviewing with me today. And thank you so much for being committed to the show and just being part of the group, man. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, the show is the show and we all love it. And it's, like a second or third or fourth, fifth job for us. But at the end of the day, it's really about the friendship group. And it's just great to be together. But thanks, buddy. Really appreciate you. So viewers, let's wrap up the show, viewers. Keep your eyes out for a lot of great content coming up. We're touching on a lot of really creative, really important topics such as global warming, some COVID, mental health. So just a lot of great stuff in the next few weeks, next few months to come. So really excited about that. Again, thank you so much to Chris for joining us and being our little interviewee, our last interviewee for at least for right now. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to listen to our content wherever you listen to your podcast or watch us on YouTube at any time. And make sure to follow our Instagram at The Intelligent World. I think that's it. I don't even remember. Thank you so much again for watching. And any last words, Chris? You can end the show.
I'm all good. I'll leave it to you.
All right. Well, again, thank you for watching. This has been Chris Berry's Meet the Cast.